Welcome to Melifetalis Digitals. Today we present the generations of computers. So without any further ado, let's start the video. Generation of computers refers to the period of time some certain kinds of computers were manufactured. There are 5 generations of computers: first generation, second generation, third generation, fourth generation, and fifth generation. The first generation computers. The first generation computers are computers that were made during the 1940s to 1950s. The main logic circuitries were vacuum tubes, while the main memory were magnetic drums and magnetic tapes. So this is the vacuum tube, which were the main logical circuitries of the first generation computers. The inputs and outputs devices were punch cards and paper tapes, while the programming language used was machine language. The speed was very slow and the size was very big. They consumed a lot of electricity and consequently generated a lot of heat. So a notable example of first generation computer is this UNIVAC 1. So we move to the next one, which is the second generation computers. So the second generation computers are computers that were made during the 1950s to 1960s. The main logic circuitries were transistors. These are transistors. So while the main memory were magnetic core and magnetic tape, the programming language used then was for these computers the assembly language, which is regarded as a low level language, while the power consumption was low and they generated less heat in comparison with the first generation computers. They were smaller in size, in comparison with the first generation computers. The speed and reliability were improved in comparison with the first generation computers. The input output devices were also punch cards and punch tapes. So a notable example is this IBM 1620. So that's all for the second generation computer. We move to the next one, which is the third generation computers. The third generation computers are computers that were made during the 1960s to 1970s. The main logic circuitries were the integrated circuits. So from the first generation, the main logic circuitries were vacuum tube. So the first generation computers can also be referred to as vacuum tubes computers, while the second generation computers transistor the transistors were the main logic circuitry. So the second generation computer can also be regarded as transistor computers. So the basic shifts was the formation of these integrated circuits. The integrated circuit in the third generation were small scale integration, which means that in the single integrated circuit, uh, only few transistors are contained in the integrated circuit, numbering 1 to 10. So that's for that. The main memory were large magnetic core, magnetic tape or disk, while the programming language used was a high level language. High level languages like Pascal, Basic, COBOL, etc. So they were smaller in size, cheaper, and more efficient than the second generation computers. The speed and reliability were improved in comparison with the second generation computers. The input output devices were keyboard, monitor, printer, etc. So a notable example is this data general nova system. So that's all for third generation computer. So we move on to the next one, which is the fourth generation computers. The fourth generation computers are computers that were made during the 1970s till the 1980s. The main logic uh, components, that is the logic circuitry, were large scale integration. The third generation was small scale integration, but the fourth generation were made up of large scale and very large scale integration, which were developed into microprocessors. So the large scale integration contains hundreds to thousands of transistors on a single microchip, while the very large scale integration is thousands to millions of transistors on a single microchip. The memory, as the main memory, was the semiconductor memory, such as the RAM and the ROM, while the programming language used were also high level languages like Java, C++, C, etc. So they were smaller in size, cheaper, and more efficient than the third generation computers. The speed and reliability was improved in comparison with the third generation computers, while the input output devices were keyboard, monitor, printer, etc. So a notable example is this IBM 5100. So that's all for the fourth generation computers. So we move to the next one, which is the last one, the fifth generation computer. So the fifth generation computers are computers that were made during the 1980s to date and the future. Okay, the main logic circuitries are the large scale integration, the ultra large scale integration technology. Okay, it was the ultra large scale that was developed. The ultra large scale integration uh, means that there are millions of transistors on a single microchip. So the fifth and the fourth generation computers, there is something in common within them, which is the 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 existence of microprocessors, which are a lot of transistors on a single microchip. So this is a microprocessor which definitely contains millions of transistors in a single microchip. So that's it. Then their mechanisms are characterized with artificial intelligence, while the programming languages are high-level languages like Python, Kotlin, Java, etc. They consume less power and generate less heat. There is an ultimate improvement in speed, accuracy, and reliability in comparison with the fourth generation computers, and in fact all other previous generations of computers. So they are very portable and small in size and have a huge memory capacity. The, the input and output devices are the keyboard, monitor, mouse, touchpad, touch screen, pen, speech input, light scanner, printer, etc. So our modern day our modern day laptop, phones, desktop, computers, robotics, they are all fifth generation computers. Thanks for watching this video. The information here is not meant for academic purposes, but an informational guide anyone would need before purchasing any computer products and services. Please like and subscribe to this channel.